Alright, people of the internet, you read the title of this video, so you know I'm gonna be talking about shit. So, I am tired of humanity. I'm tired of people. I am tired of quite literally everything that involves people. Now you might say to yourself, why? Oh, I'll give you a million different reasons why. First off, all the racism and sexism and homophobic and transphobic bullshit that's going on in our society today. And, you know, none of that ever really left. And that's a shame. You would think in the year 2025, halfway through 2025, mind you, you would think that, you know, people wouldn't be racist anymore, or as racist. And even if they were, they'd be called out instantly. They'd be canceled online. They would lose their jobs and things like that. Now, that might have been the case 10 or so years ago or whatever, you know. Oh, I'm going to say the N-word on Twitter. Do it. You're going to lose your job. You're going to lose your livelihood because nobody wants to be associated with a racist. Oh, unless you're Donald Trump, because he himself is racist and sexist and homophobic, transphobic, a rapist. He's everything. But that's beside the point. I'm not here to bitch about Donald Trump for half an hour. He's too easy of a target. Anyways, you know, I'm just tired of all the racism. And, you know, I'm also tired, speaking of racism, I'm probably going to say something that's a little bit racist here. What some people would classify as racist. I'm tired of people making everything a race issue. You know who you are, alright? But in case you don't, I'll fucking say it. So, a lot of black people are actually making things a race issue. They always really seem to. Now, I'm not saying all of them, but there's a decent amount of black people out there that are making a race issue out of the fact that, you know, Billie Eilish did a concert in Ireland and she said something about being with her people or her kind or whatever. I forgot what she said. I don't really care. But, you know, guess who got offended by it? A lot of black people. And, you know, I'm tired of it. You know, and I know a lot of black people are probably going to be offended that I'm saying this. Oh, you're racist because you say that we start shit. Actually, you do. And I'm sure a lot of other black people can attest to the fact that you start race issues all the time. You make everything a race issue. Oh, somebody won't date me. It's because I'm black. No, it's just because you're not compatible with them. They don't really, like, they don't really find you attractive, or they don't really think you would, you know, be a good fit for them. Not because of race, but because whatever. But you're over here making it a race issue. Oh, well, it's because I'm black. No, it's because you know, they don't really see anything in you or see a future with you or whatever. It has nothing to do with you being black at all. But, you know, on the flip side, I'm going to say something about white people to kind of make sure that we're on equal grounds here. White people are not safe from racism either. They're the ones that cause it the most, I would say. You always hear about on the news some black guy or gal does something. And you see it a lot on YouTube. they have this on the news, and then they speak in the comments about, well, it's always the ones you expect. It's always their kind that does something like that. It's always black people that do this, never white people, or hashtag black people problems. I've seen a lot of comments on YouTube about that. And, sadly, it's been a stereotype, especially in certain areas of the U.S. where, crime is rampant and whatever. That doesn't mean that all black people are that way. And I mean, it's really fucking stupid that people are racist. You'd think we would have gotten rid of that shit long time ago. But no. Sadly, racism never left. And I don't think it ever will. Because Have you ever heard about this white woman who called a black child the N-word, and long story short got paid over $700,000 on a GoFundMe type thing? Yeah, so racism pays in this country nowadays. People are not ashamed to be racist because there's no repercussions for it. And people like Tom Powell Jr. and I believe the guy's name is Tizzy. It's Tizzy, something like that. They're the only ones that seem to have a fucking brain here and call out racism and homophobia, homophobic bullshit, transphobic bullshit. They actually have brains and actually call it out. Not a lot of people are calling it out like they should be. Right? And speaking of homophobic and transphobic bullshit, I am so tired of gay people or trans people or whatever making everything an issue with that too. You don't like a movie or a TV show or a video game that has a gay character in it? Oh, well, it's because you're homophobic. That's why. And I'm speaking as someone that's bisexual and gender fluid and non-binary. So I'm a part of the LGBT community through and through. I'm also an avid ally. But come the fuck on, people. Not everything's a gay issue. Not everything is homophobic or transphobic just because people don't like something. Now, I don't really care if there's any, bisexual representation in movies or video games. I don't care if there, is non-binary or gender fluid representation in video games or movies or whatever. But it has to be done right. You can't just put a gay character or a bisexual character or a trans character or whatever in a show or movie and call it a day. Because you're pandering. I hate when people pander. Because they're doing it to check boxes. They're not doing it because they actually care about the community that they're supposed to be representing in that game. I mean, that's one reason why people are pissed about, what was it, Dragon Age Veilguard, I believe the game was called. I mean, I saw the clip. I saw the video of What's-Her-Face saying, I'm non-binary. And I felt like it too was forced. I'm one of those people that felt like it was forced. I would have no problem if she was, gender fluid or non-binary or whatever the case may be, but only if it's done right. Now, Rosado from Fire Emblem Engage, he's a case of it being done right. Now, I'm not saying he's trans or anything, but even femboys, even feminine men, which I'm also a femboy as well, And Rosato is one of my favorite femboys of all time. I think better than Astolfo and Felix combined. Now, for some of you that don't know who Felix is, I'm talking about Felix Argyle, the cat femboy. But, yeah, I mean, Rosato, in my opinion, is better than both of them combined. Because he is so well done, you know, in the game. Like, he doesn't make it, he doesn't come out and say, oh, well, I'm a femboy. Oh, I'm gender fluid, non-binary. Oh, whatever. And that's a good thing. You know, all Rosato said was, you know, he comes from the village of the fair folk where basically come as you are. Gender isn't even a thing there. You know, you're allowed to dress how you want and express yourself how you wanted in the village of the fair folk. And that's good. You know, he gave a little backstory as to why he is the way that he is, why, you know, he wears a skirt and is more feminine than most typical men. And it's a good explanation. It's a really fantastic thing. And Rosato, again, is a case of a character being done right with a proper backstory. And, you know, Nintendo actually took the time to flesh out Rosato. Because ultimately Nintendo has the last say in all. It is their property. Yes, it was made by Intelligent Systems that, you know, make most, if not all, the Fire Emblem games. But ultimately, Nintendo has a say in their own franchise. They can say, hey, get rid of Rosato, or tone it down with Rosato, or whatever. They could have just flat out removed him entirely. But Nintendo said, nuh-uh, we're keeping this femboy in. And so they did. And, you know, he's done properly, and that's good. He wasn't forced, and that is good. You don't really see a lot of that in media. You know, a lot of people are like, oh, I'm bisexual, I'm gender fluid, I'm whatever, and they make it their whole personality. And they even have that stereotypical gay voice or whatever. And it's like, what the fuck? And honestly, I consider that to be a bit homophobic in a way. And I'm not speaking on behalf of all gay people or bisexuals. I'm just speaking from what I think, anyway. And I know I'm talking a lot about it, but God, I got a lot of bullshit to say about it. You know, but just know that I'm on par, and I'm all for representation of gay people or bisexual or anybody from the LGBT community, femboys, women, whatever. You know, I'm fine with minorities getting a spotlight, but it has to be done right. Don't just put them in there just to be putting them in there, you know, because you're pandering, and pandering, in my opinion, is a form of either racism or sexism or homophobic bullshit, because you're not doing it in a legit manner. You're not doing it because you actually care. You're doing it to check a box. And that goes the same with women as well in games. A lot of people are sexist and say that women can't play video games. Women don't belong in man spaces. First off, gaming isn't a thing for just one gender. Back in the Atari days, it was for everybody. The NES days, it was for everybody. Yes, the NES was more marketed toward boys because it was in the boy section at, you know, your local Walmart or your Toys R Us or whatever way back when. But ultimately, it was for everybody. It was for families to play. You know, your brother and your sister could play, your mother and your father. And honestly, I like to believe that gaming as a whole is for everybody, regardless of race, religion, sexuality, gender, whatever. Gaming is for everybody. It's meant to be a place where everybody can do whatever. And, you know, I'm tired of people trying to boycott women. Now, do I feel like game companies are hiring more women because they're women and not based on merit? Yes, I do feel that way. Cause come on, and I'm sure a lot of women are talented in the gaming space. Don't get me wrong, but I've seen pictures of all the women, or at least most of the women that have worked on a game or that are in the studio right now. And I think there's too many. You're telling me that all these women are good enough to work on Halo, or Call of Duty, or Red Dead Redemption, or whatever the case may be. Fucking whatever. Come on. Most women aren't exactly interested in that space anyway. And remember Sweet Baby Inc. and how pathetic they are? A lot of it is women. They're feminists, they're feminizing for the wrong reasons. I'm okay with feminism. I'm okay with women having more rights and, you know, whatever. But companies like Sweet Baby Inc. and Collective Shout are all doing it for the wrong fucking reasons. Come on. You know, at the end of the day, a game is a game. It's not reflective of what the company believes. So you can have a game that's all about rape and incest and shit like that in a video game. But that doesn't mean that, you know, the company that made the game is all for it. It doesn't mean that they condone it. In the same way that the people, as far as I know, that made the game Hatred, they don't support mass genocide of the human population. But it seems to be a lot of women that are trying to tell, you know, that are trying to tell men, basically, what to do, what to play. Oh, well, you can't play Grand Theft Auto 5, it's too violent. First off, you're not my fucking parent. Secondly, even if you are, a lot of us are old enough to fucking play Grand Theft Auto 5. A lot of us have Grand Theft Auto 5 anyway. You can't stop me from getting out my PS3, PS4, Xbox 360 copies. I have all three, by the way. PS3, 4, and 360 copies of 5. You can't stop me from playing it. And just because people play Grand Theft Auto 5 does not mean that, you know, doesn't mean that they're anti-women. It doesn't mean that they're anti-cop. It doesn't mean that they are anti-anything. It just means that they want to have fun in a virtual playground where that they, you know, sandbox game where they can do basically whatever the fuck they want. And the game doesn't reward you for shooting cops or beating women or whatever. No, the cops come after you in full force. Unless you have like a mod menu or something like that, but even then, you know, it's your choice. Now, do I admit that there are some people that play Grand Theft Auto 5 that are that way? That they want to beat women in reality, and probably do? Yes. Because GTA 5 has sold so many copies, it's one of the best-selling games of all time. But, you know, I'm also tired of people saying that video games cause violence. And I know I've talked about it about a billion different times on this channel, but I'm talking about it again because I don't think it's talked about enough. I'm so tired of people saying that video games cause violence, because They don't even bother to do the fucking research themselves. Now, are there people out there that are inspired to do violent crimes because they played a game? Yes. Is it the game's fault? No. At least not entirely. But they make video games seem out, they make video games out to be satanic and horrible and whatever. Now, another thing I'm so fucking tired of regarding just humanity, I am so fucking tired of religion being shoved down everybody's throats. And I'm saying this as someone that doesn't believe in God. I don't believe in Satan. I don't believe in Jesus. I don't believe in heaven, hell, any of that bullshit. I'm fine if you do. I'm not gonna knock you for it. We all got something to believe in. We all gotta believe in something. However, the people I have a problem with are the ones that try to shove it down everybody's throats. As in, a lot of the people in the government. They're trying to put prayer in schools. They're trying to tell people, oh, well, if you aren't religious, then you're a bad person. No, I think if you are religious, you're a bad person, because you're using religion to control people. Oh, being gay is a sin. No, it's not, you dipshit. And even if it was, who cares? Being happy is what matters, not what some stupid god has to say about anything. Alright? Who cares what that fucking retard has to say about gay marriage or whatever? I think everybody should have the choice to say what they want. America, here, where I live, is freedom of speech, or at least should be freedom of speech. It's one of the, the founding fathers, what they intended in the Constitution is freedom of speech. We're allowed to speak our minds. Freedom of religion and freedom from religion. If we do not want to believe in a God, if we want to call God a fucking dumbass, we can. It's our right to do so. And I'm so tired of people trying to tell me what to believe. Oh, you're going to hell. Good! Fucking good. I'm glad I'm going to hell. I'll just pick up a shotgun and blast Satan in the face. Okay? Because if I'm going to hell, I'm the fucking Doomslayer. I'm going to be the Doomslayer. I'm going to rule hell. I'm going to take control. And I'm going to show these people who's the boss. Me. I'll be the next Satan. Hell, I'll be the femboy dominatrix of the demons' dreams. I'll be a sex object for them, and they'll be a sex object for me. It works both ways. They're a bitch. I'm a bitch. Everyone's a bitch. Right? But I think we can all agree that religion is fucking stupid anyway. Because there is no existence that God, there is no proof that God exists. There's no proof that Jesus existed. And even if you want to say, oh, well, Jesus did exist. Yes, that might be true. However, not in the way that you think he did. A lot of people, going back to the whole racist thing, a lot of people say that Jesus Christ is white and had long hair. No. That is not at all how Jesus would likely have been. Not at all. Jesus would have most likely been brown, at the very least, and had, shorter hair. He wouldn't have been this divine figure that you think he would have been. Because let me ask you a perfectly legitimate question here. First off, don't you think that if scientists were to say, hey, Jesus Christ was real, and it was in the same way that everyone thinks he is, white with long hair and blah 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 blah. What about the supposed miracles that he performed? Walking on water, turning water into wine, and all that bullshit. Why don't we have this technology? You'd think that we would have the ability to do that. It would be a good magic trick at the very least. But it's like, we don't have that. And why don't we have that? Because Jesus Christ is a fucking phony. God is a phony. Everything is a fucking phony. It's not real. You don't believe in Santa Claus, do ya? Because he's fake as shit. Now I got a theory here. I have a theory that, Santa Claus, as we all know him to be, was made up by the Coca-Cola Company to sell more Coca-fucking-Cola. Alright? That is why he still exists. So, if you don't believe in Santa Claus, because he's not real, why do you believe in God? He's not real either. Why do you believe in Jesus? He's not real either. Why do you believe in any of that bullshit? Now again, I'm not gonna knock you for it. If you believe in that shit, you believe in that shit. That's fine with me. But to the ones who are so obsessed with it, so insane. I mean, people want to talk about how, gay people are annoying because they make being gay their whole identity. Or, they want to make everything about them. Okay. Well, what about all the religious people that make religion their entire existence? That make religion, whatever. Now, like I keep saying, if there is existence of a God or Jesus Christ as we know him to be, and there was actual proof that they existed, if scientists came out tomorrow and said, hey, there was a God, there actually was a creator, and here's the proof that, there was a creator, okay, I'd be more likely to believe, but I still wouldn't follow him. Because God's a fucking prick. He's an asshole. Now, I already talked a little bit about that in another video, but, another thing that I would like to talk about in this video is just all the sexism that's going on in the world. People always say, oh, women can't play video games, whatever. But women can kick your ass in a video game. There was a time around 10 years ago I was playing Black Ops 2. And, there was a girl on the team and shit like that. And, men went apeshit. Men are like, oh, I gotta fuck you right now, you bitch. And it's like, what the fuck? Secondly, it's just absolutely ridiculous that, people act that way anyway. But a lot of people, if they weren't horny, they were pissed that there was even a hint of a girl being in the same lobby as them. And the fact that she won the entire match pretty much by herself. Because, like, and also she was on our team. So we ended up winning the match solely because of her. I forgot the username, I forgot everything about it, except for the fact that I know that there was a girl playing Call of Duty. And, like, her voice, while I admit was gorgeous, it wasn't exactly fuck-worthy, you know, because I'm respectful to women. I'm probably one of the only few guys that are actually respectful of women, that actually believe that just because someone looks cute or that someone sounds cute, you know, doesn't mean that they actually are. The inside is what matters, not the outside, basically. But even if they were the full package, even if they were gorgeous and they sounded gorgeous and they had a good heart, good mind, whatever, you know, I'm respectful enough to be like, alright, cool. You know, some people, they act like dogs. Men are dogs. You know, and also, women, while I am defending them, I'm also going to talk a little shit about them. There's a reason why the male loneliness epidemic even happens. And, you know, a lot of it has to do with women, because women, they either, again, not all women. And, you know, it's also a telling sign when even lesbians don't want to be around women. Like, I've heard a lot of people that are bisexual or lesbians that, you know, are female, and they don't want to be around other women because of whatever reason. Now, I feel like all women want nowadays is sex or money. And if you, and they also want you to look like a 10 out of 10. They want you to look like Robert Pattinson fucked, oh fuck, who was the guy that played Jacob in Twilight? Fuck. That werewolf guy. I forgot the name, because I don't care about Twilight. I don't think Twilight was that good of a movie anyway. Oh, Taylor Lautner, I believe it was. Like, if you're not Edward Cullen mixed with Jacob, you aren't my time. Basically saying that looks are what matter here. And it's like, no, looks don't make the person. The heart does. If you have a good heart, and you're kind, and you're nice, that's what really matters here. If you're smart, that's what matters here. But there's a lot of women that don't want smart men, because smart men can learn easily when they're being manipulated and when they are being harassed and targeted by women. And so, you know, those kind of tactics don't work. Women, in the same way that my ex was, so I know firsthand how the female species can operate. My ex-girlfriend was controlling as shit. You know, she wouldn't let me talk to any of my friends that were girls, even at school. I mean, she was all the way in fucking Georgia. So, I mean, it's not like we saw each other. We talked on Facebook. But, you know, she wouldn't even allow me to talk to other women. Just even to the point where if they said hello to me, I was supposed to turn my head away from them and walk the other direction. Basically be rude to them. And that's not who I am. So, basically, I agreed. I said, okay, fine. But then I went behind her back and talked to women anyway at school and whatnot. Because, hey, you ain't gonna fucking control me. You're not gonna tell me who I can and can't talk to. I get it. You're insecure. That's fine. I'm insecure too. A lot of people are insecure. But that doesn't mean that me talking to another girl, whether it be on Facebook or anywhere on social media or at school or whatever, you know, fucking means that I'm cheating on you. I am as loyal as they come. If I'm choosing to date you, then I'm choosing to date you and only you. You're the only one I have eyes for. I don't give a fuck about anybody else at that moment in time that we're together. You know? And the fact of me being bisexual would have really pissed her off. I wouldn't be allowed to talk to guys either. God damn. Like, she was that kind of person. But, like, I just went along with it and basically stabbed her in the back by actually talking to other women anyway. And said, hey, fuck you, you're not going to control me. And me and her actually had an argument about that, and I think that was one of the arguments that led to us breaking up, and for good reason. I'm glad I broke up with her. But at the same time, I still have feelings for her. Like, it's a convoluted system where I hate her for what she did to me and tried to control me and tell me who I can and can't talk to. But also, she was more insecure than I was because she would always think that I was cheating on her every time. Like, she was one of those people that wanted you to text her every second just so that you were talking to her and only her, and if you were gone, even taking a nap, even if you told her, yeah, I'm taking a nap, I'm sleeping, you know, she would basically think, hey, you're cheating on me. No, bitch, I'm fucking sleeping. I'm taking a nap. 'Cause I'm tired of your bullshit. Nah, but it's also been a long week at school, and I barely got enough sleep throughout the week, so I need to rest up for fucking the next week. Yeah, going to high school isn't good. Never go to high school, kids. Let me tell you something. As someone that graduated high school back in 2018, I can fucking tell you right now, it is not what it's cracked up to be. I mean, I don't mind if I were to go back to high school. Like, if I somehow, some way, reverted back, like, in time, if I time traveled to the past, and I, you know, was in school, you know, again, I wouldn't really care. I would just know who to avoid and who not to avoid. That was part of my problem, is whatever. But yeah, like, it was a pain in the ass. And so a lot of women are like that. And I know not all of them are. I'm not saying that all of them are. But men aren't any better. It's sort of the black and white issue I was talking about earlier in this video, where black people aren't the only ones with issues. But, you know, men aren't safe from my wrath either. Men are just as bad as women, if not worse. Alright, you know, me being bisexual, I, of course, dated a few guys in my time, mostly femboys, because I clearly have a type. And most of the femboys that I've dated ended up cheating on me, lying to my face, well, to my Facebook face, my PSO2 face, not my real face, because they don't live anywhere near me. Probably a good thing, but still. But yeah, like, you know, all the things that women did to me, I also had happen to me. Like, people were worried that I would cheat on them, and yet they cheated on me. Like, they were talking to and also fucking other guys. And I'm over here just like, what? First off, no, you and me were dating. I did not agree to a polygamous relationship. I did not agree to you whoring yourself out. You piece of shit. Secondly, I was never in it for the... I think sex is gross, honestly. I think sex, while it does make the world go round and all that, I don't really think it's my thing. I don't like the idea of sex. I don't like sticking my dick in places where it doesn't belong. My penis belongs stationary where it's at right now. next to my balls. Okay? My penis belongs here. Not in some guy's ass, not in some girl's vagina, not in some girl's ass, okay? Not in some guy or girl's mouth. It doesn't belong anywhere like that. I do not consent. I will never consent. Because I don't like the idea of sex. And the problem is, it's hard to find people in this day and age that doesn't want your body. Or they try to convince you, oh, well, if we have sex this one time, if we role play sex this one time, I'll leave you alone. Yeah, one of my ex-boyfriends actually did not care about consent at all. They said that I didn't have a right to consent, and basically said that if they wanted to fuck me at any time, whether it be in reality or on Facebook or wherever, that they were going to fuck me even if I said no. Basically implying that they were going to rape me if they ever felt horny. Now, this guy that I dated, fucking horny as shit every single day, was always, oh, I want to fuck you so bad. I want to fuck you. I want to fuck you. And I kept telling him no. I said, no, no, no. I don't want to fuck you. Because I don't want to have sex. I don't care about that shit. It's not my thing. And besides, you cannot get a femboy pregnant. You want to get me pregnant, but you can't get me pregnant. That is an impossibility. But also, you know, like I said, men are also the problem. But it's like this whole male loneliness epidemic. There's a reason why so many people aren't dating. Because they can't find anybody. The bisexuals can't find anybody. The gay people can't find anybody. The lesbians can't find... Nobody can find anybody. And we are the loneliest generation ever. Generation Z. Well, actually, I don't even know what I am. Am I a late millennial or am I an early Gen Z? Because I was born in the year 2000. And, like, the very beginning of 2000. Like, we're talking January 16, 2000. So, yeah. But whatever I am, whether it be late millennial, early Gen Z, whatever the case may be, we cannot find love. So, we just say fuck it and die alone. Personally, I think you don't really need a relationship. Yeah, it's nice to have one, but it's not the be-all, end-all of life. You can die alone. Just fine. We all die alone anyway. The likelihood of us actually dying, like let's say you had a relationship with someone and you're married or dating or whatever, and you two die at the exact same time, chances are that's almost unheard of. You are going to die alone. Whether it be for a second, 10 seconds, a minute, an hour, a day, a week, a month, a year, whatever the case may be, you will die alone anyway. And when you're dead, you're not going to give a shit. Everything that leads up to life is death. That's all we live to do. Which begs the question, why are we still here? I don't know. Now, also, I want to say something here that might be even more controversial than my race talk earlier. My controversial take of the day is, I think if you want to kill yourself, you should be allowed to. And I'm saying that as someone who is depressed as fuck, who's thought about suicide several times, starting in 2014. You know, I was depressed and on the verge of wanting to kill myself several times in high school. And shit. I'm saying this as someone, like, you should be allowed to make your own decisions, whether you leave the earth or not, how you die, when you die. But, you have to do everything first to make sure. And by do everything, I mean take medication. See a psychiatrist or a doctor or somebody that could potentially help you. If you have to, go into a psych ward. If you have to, go and talk to the suicide hotline people. Try everything, and if neither of that shit works, then you should be allowed to kill yourself. Don't just kill yourself at the slightest inconvenience. Don't fucking kill yourself because you haven't tried everything. I've tried everything, and I still feel like shit. But, you know, I'm tired of people always lying when they say things like, oh, it'll get better soon. It never gets better. That's the thing. We only learn to deal with it and endure the pain, but sometimes the pain gets too much. And honestly, nobody ever agreed to being born. We never asked to be born. We were never even asked about, you know, our circumstances, where we live, who we grow up with, who we grow up to be. You know, we never asked for any of that. And so, you know, it's like, you know, what do? You don't want to fucking live anymore because life's a pain in the ass. But you're worried that if you actually attempt suicide and you fail, you're gonna go to a fucking psych ward. And I've heard a lot of stories about the psych ward. I've heard a lot of stories about how they make people worse off. But not every single one. There are some that actually might end up helping you, but whatever. But, you know, at the end of the day, it should be your choice. And I'm tired of people thinking that, you know, suicide is a subject that, you know, can only have a positive outcome if you don't do it. People always say, oh, well, it's a permanent solution to a temporary problem. Yeah, my whole life has been temporary problems. Let's say, for example, I live to be 100. I'm 25 and a half now, at the time of this recording. I do not want to deal with, you know, over, you know, 60, 70 years worth of temporary problems. I know a lot of people don't want to fucking deal with that either. And I don't blame the people who killed themselves. I don't see them as cowardly at all. And people are like, oh, well, if you kill yourself, you're a coward. No, that's not the case at all, because you're making people feel worse. You're essentially calling them a coward for even thinking it, which is going to make things worse. I'll tell you what really is cowardly, though. Treating people to the point where they want to kill themselves. Whether it be the school system or your neighbors or the police. I'm just speaking from my side of things here, obviously. Everyone's situation is different. But, you know, I don't really think that suicide should be this horrible thing that people can't even talk about. I think it needs to be discussed greatly, and I do think there needs to be hotlines and help in place, but ultimately it should be your decision. Also, with your decision, I also think that drugs, you know, like meth, cocaine, crack, heroin, whatever, All that shit should be legalized. Now, shut up. Sit the fuck down, shut the fuck up, and let me explain here why I think that. I think we need to legalize all the drugs because, I mean, let's be real here. They don't really care about people. You have tobacco and nicotine products like cigarettes and whatnot that have actually caused more harm than benefits. There are actually no benefits to smoking a cigar or a cigarette or anything like that. There is no benefit to smoking. Now, weed, on the other hand, there's nothing but benefits. You get high, it slows shit down, it helps you in more ways than one, it numbs pain, and it's good. It's a good thing. I've never been high before, I never had marijuana, I'd like to. But, you know, polar opposites here. But on top of cigarettes, they also allow alcohol, which alcohol in itself is a drug. You can get anything that you can get addicted to is a drug. It doesn't have to be a pill. It could be alcohol, it could be gambling, it could be video games, it could be TV, it could be whatever. Anything that you're addicted to can be classified as a drug. And so, if, you know, cigarettes and alcohol that have killed people and caused more issues than it solves, if they're allowed to be sold on the market and it's almost impossible to flat out ban them, why not the rest of the drugs? Also, I think it's people's choice. If they want to buy and sell meth or cocaine or heroin or whatever other drugs are out there, they should be allowed to. You know, just as long as everybody knows the risks involved and actually consents to it. Like, okay, you know, yes, you can have this meth, but just be aware that it can have side effects. This could happen, that could happen. And I mean, let's be real here. Jeez. Banning things doesn't help. We tried banning alcohol way back when. Over 100 years ago, I believe. And nothing came of it except a lot of chaos. People were still, you know, getting alcohol and getting drunk and making their own bootleg merch of alcohol and shit like that. So that didn't do any good. Oh, but it affects kids. Yeah, you don't give a fuck about the children. If you actually cared about the children, there wouldn't be school shootings. The Epstein list would have been announced, and we would have been done with this. All kids everywhere in the U.S. would have had access to free lunch with no issue whatsoever, and whatnot. Like, I don't like kids. I hate them. But I don't want to see a kid go hungry just because the school system's a cunt. And speaking of cunts, I don't understand why people have an issue with the word cunt. It's just a word. It's not like I'm saying a slur. I mean, it's just a word. Also, you wouldn't have survived the UK. People call each other cunts all the time in the UK. It's not just, you know, it's not whatever. But anyways, that's it for this video. I don't care anymore. Fuck humanity. Just watch it burn. I'm one of those people that just wants the nukes to fly already. I don't care what happens to people. I don't even care what happens to me. As I already explained, I'm depressed as fuck. I've gotten to the point where I don't care if I die. Death happens, comes for us all. I wanted to sit. Oh, that hot sauce was so good! I like hot sauce. Anyways, that's it. Peace out. Ashley out, and I don't fucking care anymore. You know, I don't give a shit. Fuck everything. Fuck everyone. I'm a cat. Yeah.